Operation Epic Fury was a historic and overwhelming victory on the battlefield. A capital V military victory. By any measure, Epic Fury decimated Iran's military and rendered it combat ineffective for years to come. We untied just a fraction of our strength, and Iran suffered a devastating military defeat.
Before the sun had fully risen over the Strait of Hormuz, 4 AH-64 Apache attack helicopters were already in the fight, flying nap of the earth, just meters above the terrain. They came in fast, low, and lethal. Rockets streamed from their pods in rapid salvos. The 30mm chain guns opened with a deep, thundering rhythm. And in a single morning, Iran's last major defensive line near the Strait of Hormuz was about to cease to exist. This is the story of Operation Epic Fury. The Strait of Hormuz, just 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, and one of the most critical waterways on Earth. Nearly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through here every single day. Tankers, cargo ships, energy that keeps economies running. But Iranian forces had turned a 3-kilometer ridgeline just inland from the coast into a fortress. Deep interconnected trenches, reinforced concrete firing positions, underground bunkers, sandbag walls, heavy weapon emplacements dug in across the high ground. From this line, Iranian troops had been launching rockets and directing artillery fire directly at commercial shipping transiting the strait. The world's most critical choke point was under threat, and the order came down: destroy it, all of it. At 05:30 hours, before most of the world was awake, the Apaches lifted off. 4 AH-64s in tight formation, flying low, using terrain to mask their approach. Each helicopter had been loaded to full combat capacity. Hydra 70 rocket pods under the stub wings. AGM-114 Hellfire missiles on the rail launchers, the 30mm chain gun loaded with high explosive rounds, tanks full, targeting systems hot. As they reached the trench line, the FLIR targeting systems lit up with heat signatures, machine gun nests, bunker openings, enemy soldiers scrambling for cover. The pilots didn't hesitate. Rockets slammed into elevated gun nests, sending fire and sand erupting into the morning sky. The chain guns raked the trench edges in long, precise bursts, suppressing any defender who dared return fire. When infantry commanders on the ground identified a concrete bunker complex that was holding them back, one Apache pilot locked his laser designator onto the structure and fired a single Hellfire missile. The bunker vanished in a thunderous explosion. The Apaches never stopped moving. They circled continuously, providing real-time intelligence, engaging every new threat the moment it appeared. Now you might be asking, why send helicopters at all? Why not just use jets? The answer comes down to two things: precision and survival. High-altitude jets are powerful, but in a close urban or terrain complex environment like this ridgeline, they lack the ability to hover, loiter, and communicate in real time with troops on the ground. Apaches operate differently. Flying nap of the earth means they hug the terrain, staying below radar detection thresholds, using hills and ridgelines to mask their approach. They appear only when they're ready to engage, and then they disappear again. In a densely fortified trench environment, where friendly infantry is operating just meters from enemy positions, that kind of precision matters more than raw firepower. The Apache isn't designed to drop bombs from 30,000 feet. It's designed to fight close, to work directly with troops, to put missiles and cannon fire exactly where the infantry commander needs it, right now. That is why they sent the Apaches. And that is exactly what made this mission work. But let's not paint this as easy. It wasn't. These pilots flew into one of the most dangerous airspaces in the region. Iran's defensive network wasn't just trenches. It was layered, surface-to-air missile systems positioned along the coast, anti-aircraft guns capable of engaging low-flying aircraft, Iranian spotters calling in positions, and the ever-present threat of armed drone swarms, cheap, fast, and increasingly deadly. Every firing run meant exposure. Every hover over the battlefield was a calculated risk. Apache pilots train for exactly this environment. They understand terrain masking. They know how to read radar lock warnings and break engagement before a missile can guide. They communicate constantly, with each other, with the infantry on the ground, with the command element tracking the battle in real time. But training doesn't eliminate the danger. It manages it. On this battlefield, with SAMs to the west, drones from the north, and small arms fire rising from the trenches below, every single minute in the air was earned. As the Apaches worked the skies, the ground force was already moving. Up-armored Humvees pushed forward first, 150 caliber machine guns laying down heavy suppressive fire. Soldiers dismounted in disciplined fire teams and advanced toward the outer trench line under the protective umbrella of the helicopters above. The first trench was reached against heavy enemy resistance. Fragmentation grenades into firing positions. Soldiers dropping into the trenches themselves. Close quarters combat. Rifle fire, flashbangs, room-clearing tactics, bunker after bunker, position after position. One squad found a large underground ammunition cache and secured it before it could be detonated. Engineers followed right behind the assault elements, marking cleared sections with colored tape, disabling booby traps, neutralizing unexploded ordnance. The coordination was seamless. When the infantry needed fire support, they called it. When the Apaches needed to know where friendlies were, the infantry showed them. By older 800 hours, just 2.5 hours after the assault began, more than half the 3-kilometer trench network was already in American hands. This is where the Apaches truly earned their reputation. When an Iranian flanking element attempted to swing around the trench line and hit the infantry from the side, an Apache pilot spotted them. Chain gun, immediate suppression. The flanking move was dead before it could develop. The infantry repositioned. The threat was neutralized. When a stubborn concrete reinforced position refused to fall to direct infantry assault, a ground commander called for Apache support. Laser designator locked. One hellfire. The position was gone. The Apaches never left the fight. They rotated. When one helicopter expended its rocket load, it broke off to a forward arming and refueling point. Rearmed, refueled, and was back over the battlefield within minutes. At no point did the infantry fight alone. This, right here, is the doctrine of combined arms warfare working exactly as designed. Air and ground, communicating in real time, supporting each other at every step, systematically dismantling a fortified defensive network that had been built to stop exactly this kind of assault. By 10:30 hours, the final trench sections were cleared. The last defenders either surrendered or fled. The ridgeline fell silent. Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Caney walked through the cleared trenches and climbed to the highest point on the ridgeline. Below him, the glittering blue waters of the Strait of Hormuz. Quiet now. But already, on the horizon, the first escorted oil tankers were beginning their cautious transit.
All trenches secured, enemy positions completely neutralized. The coastal approach is now open.
Iran's last major defensive barrier protecting approaches to the strait had been shattered in a single morning. Rocket and artillery attacks against commercial shipping dropped dramatically. Surviving Iranian units withdrew in confusion and panic. The message sent to Iranian high command was unmistakable. The fortress they had built, the 3-kilometer network they believed was impregnable, had been reduced to empty sand, broken concrete, and silence in less than 5 hours. And now, with the ridgeline secured, observation posts established, and Apache helicopters still orbiting overhead, the question that every analyst and military planner was already asking was, what comes next? Operation Epic Fury proved one thing above everything else. When air power and ground forces work together, when Apaches and infantry fight as one, no defensive line holds. The Strait of Hormuz is open, but this campaign is far from over. If you want to know what happens next, hit subscribe. We cover every phase of this conflict as it develops. And if you want to go deeper on Apache combat tactics, the next video is right there.